Hello, my name is Arthur, and in the last video we got most of the buttons working in the edit submenu, except for the two that I don't really know how to do yet. And I'm going to move on to view, and we're going to do the larger, smaller text idea here. I don't know, I'm probably going to ditch full screen from this menu because it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me to even have that there. This is how we maximize a window. Yeah, having that in view, I don't think is really part of the view so much as part of the window. So I'm likely to take that out. So I've made some progress here already on the idea of larger and smaller text, and we can see that my text is already a different size. So let's put some text into both of the windows and see what we can get to happen. So I can get the text to grow, and I can do it so that it's only happening in the tab that I choose it to happen in. So basically what that is to me is just proof of how to do it. So I got a general idea of how to do it. So what I want to do now is make it something that's more functional rather than just two sizes. So the first thing we're going to look at is the changes that were made. So up here in the actual book, I've added in a view, which is going to be the text view. Well, it already is the text view. And I've added in an integer for size, and that would be text size. So that's the change in the structure for a book page. So down in the book page, when we create a tab, that simply involves changing the way that the view is initialized. So it's initialized in the same fashion that the other components of the book were initialized, and we'll need a reference to the text view because we're going to be using its name. So we're giving a name to the text view, and we've changed so that it's initialized the same as the other components of the book. So in order to do that, that involved changing the other references to the text view. So now instead of text view, when we're adding it to the scroll window container, we're making reference to the text view that's in the book at page index. And the same thing when we grab focus. So we're just changed text view to the book reference for the text view, which I'm just calling view. Now, to get the text to get bigger and smaller, what we're using is a CSS provider. So let's actually get some larger text in here so that we can see things more clearly. So we'll go back up because, yeah, I should have the text larger when I'm showing these things. So we have the difference in how the text view is initialized, giving it a name, where we add it to the scroll window, and the last reference is when we grab focus to the text view. So it's really just changing the reference to text view in these fields and changing the way that it's initialized. And it really makes no difference, like we're not using any more or any less memory. Each time we add a page, there's going to be a new text view. It's really just a matter of having a pointer to that text view. So it makes CSS. We create a provider, initialize it. We need to get a reference to the display. So it's good to notice here that this is not GTK, it's GDK display equals GDK display get default. And then we get a reference to the screen using the display. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. Then we add the provider for the screen. Which is the 2 lines. So we don't want to miss that. This is just a very long line, so it's on the 2 lines. And then we load the provider from the path, and the size CSS is just put into this folder. So it's just right here in the folder, so it doesn't need a path of any kind. Now, how the CSS looks right now, and this is just a start, is we have size 18 and we have size 32. So in main, when we press the larger text button, and that's the only one that works right now, it goes to the larger text function. Which is way up here. And the larger text function right now is just changing the name of view. So we change the name to size 32, and it will start using the size 32 reference. So I've set the font family to monospace, and we set the font size. And the intention is the name of the text view is going to reflect the size of the font. So that's the intention, and obviously this is not complete yet. So let's take and let's move some of this down. We'll just take and copy this a little bit. So we're going to copy it, and let's paste. Let's put 18, 19, and 20. And chances are that I'm not going to use 1 pixel increments. I'll probably use 2 or 5. I'm not really sure yet, because I haven't experimented that far. What we're doing here is we're looking at how I go from proof of concept to something that's going to do more what I want it to do. So up here in larger text, rather than just setting the name, what we're going to do is we're going to make that conditional. And we're going to construct the name rather than just, oh, set a name. So what we want is we want the current tab, and we'll go if book at index page dot size, and size is the integer. The size integer was set with the tab creation. So when we add a tab, we're setting the size to default at 18. And that'll probably change because that text is a little bit big for the default size. But right now we're starting at size and we're just getting proof of concept. So if that size is less than or equal to, we'll set it to 18, 19, 20. So we have 20 here. So if it's less than or equal to 20, Actually, if it's less than 20, we don't want to do equal to. Then we can do the next stuff. So if it's less than 20, we'll go book at page dot size plus plus. So we'll increment it upwards. Now we're going to need some variables, and we're going to see where I get my where I get the idea to do things. So the idea that I have is to convert the integer size into a string. So I look on the internet and I find example code to convert an integer to a string in C. So this is the sample code. We don't need the integer number, we already have it. So what we do need is a char. We'll call it num. And we'll give it, I think, 3 indexes. So we'll give that 3 indexes. And we'll go sprintf num, comma, integer, comma, let's get this right there. I'm looking, seeing that's wrong. Book at index page dot size. So that should convert our size into a number and store it in the char number. So now we have a string for the size number. From there, we're going to go to adding one string to another string. So our second string is going to be char, and I'm not sure of the size yet, so it'll be char name, not sure of the size, equals size underscore, because that's the naming convention that I've used in my CSS file, size underscore 18 underscore 19 underscore 20. So from there, I should be able to add the two strings together, because that's what this function here does. This is the C library function, StringCat, appends the string pointed to by source to the end of the string pointed to by destination. So our destination is the word is name, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we'll give it a size of 8 so that it has room to have num appended to it. And that's kind of what the demonstration here shows, is giving ample room for the two. So we would strncat name, the destination, comma, num, comma, 3. So I think this gets us where we're going right here. So to confirm that, I would do something like gprint the string called name. And let's organize our printout here so that we get a new line. And then from there, we should just need a closing bracket. So we'll just close that and we'll see what we get out of that. So we'll see if that, sprintf, forgot the semicolon, undeclared name. Yeah, that broke name. So hopefully that's the only mistake there. Okay, so that seems to work. Now it's not going to change the size of text. The only thing that's going to happen when we press the button is it's going to print the name that we're hoping to make the name of the current tab. So we'll larger text, size 19, larger text, size 20, larger text. It's not going to do anything because it's at the largest size it's allowed to be at. So that should be some proof of concept there. Now, let's change things a little bit here. Let's take book size plus equals 5. So we're going to go 5. Let's start at 15. We'll go 15, 20, 25. So that's how we'll save our, and 30. So that's how we'll save this in here. That means we're going to have to change our default name. So we'll start our default name at the 15. And we'll change our size to 15 to make sure everything is lined up there. Now our largest size is still 20. No, our largest size is now 30. So as long as it's less than 30. And instead of printing a name, we're going to book at page dot view. So we're going to GTK widget set name. So we'll set the name of the view to name. Now I think this should do exactly what we want it to do. So we'll save that and see what we get out of that now. So that compiles. Let's open up more than one tab. We'll put regular size text in here. We'll put a different size text in here. We'll go larger text, larger text, larger text, and larger text. Okay, so the issue on that there, let's cancel that and cancel that. So we have the two different size texts, but there was an issue there. So the issue was in the CSS. So we started at size 15. So there was no change there because we have to amend these values. 25 and 30. And that'll give us an idea what a 5 increment actually looks like. So with that done, we shouldn't actually need to recompile, but we will anyways. So that should give us larger text, larger text, larger text, and we should be at our maximum. So it's really just a matter of writing out the CSS at this point to cover more sizes. So the 5 size increment, that looked pretty good. So what we would probably do is we'd go down maybe to 10 or maybe to 5. The 15, that looks about right for a start point. Yeah. We'll just close this up and we'll go back. So that's the beginning of the larger text function. Now, I would say that probably in the next video we'll come back and we'll expand this function to just make it a text size function, and we'll make an enum for larger, smaller, and normal. And look at what it would look like if look at what it will look like when we have both the option to make larger and smaller text and set it to a normal size and get the view button working the rest of the way. So I would say that the last thing in the view button is to just go with this idea, and I'm going to remove full screen from here because it just doesn't really make sense to me to have that there. The text size, that makes sense, but full screen, yeah, I don't see a reason to have that there. I think that's just a space filler to make the menu look more busy. So that's it for this video. I hope that I've explained that well and showed everything good enough that people can see how that's working. And in the next video, we'll finish up with the view submenu and get it working the rest of the way. So until then, take care.